All right, here's the carb. It's in pieces. You'll see that little pin underneath the O-ring. Very important. Make sure that that pin, the little top, is very, very springy. That's where my problem was. There was a needle, like a pine needle, stuck in there, and so the carb was flooding. So you saw me just press a little bit, cleaned everything up. Super simple design, very, very elegant in its simplicity. Anyway, got it all cleaned. Put the pin back in after I made sure that it was working. Everything was blown out with compressed air. And then I put that little spring clip in there. Make sure that you have it going the right direction. You can tell because there's that little mark on it from the top of the pin pressing on it. All these parts just press and they're held in by the actual fuel reservoir. So be a little bit careful when you take the thing apart. Everything just doesn't fall. You know, find a good work surface, obviously, to work off of. So that goes in, and that springs back, and it's on top of that. And then the float goes in, and you put the reservoir on. I didn't have to change any gaskets. Pretty simple. The whole thing goes together very nicely. Don't forget the O-ring. Like I said, very simple, almost crude, but with a very thoughtful design. Easy to work on. You don't even have to take the cowling apart too much when you're working on that. You'll see that coming up. You see the back there where it's slotted so that compression ring works. There underneath the recoil starter, you see the intake. Again, you got that O-ring in there. Put the fuel line on the carburetor now. Don't try to put it on later because it's a real tough fit. Also, I didn't have a proper zip tie, so mine's a little bit large. I'd use a smaller one when you put it on. But anyway, put that on. Everything lines up very nicely. There you see the giant zip tie. All right. I'm going to remember that O-ring. Tip in the fuel reservoir. Slides over the intake. Make sure that you really slide it in because it'll hang up pretty quick, and obviously you do not have a seal. And don't press on the front because then you'll distort that choke diaphragm. Sorry about the crude camera work. There it is. Everything's nice and straight. You also want to make sure that it's straight up and down. Otherwise, your accelerator and your choke switch won't go through the front. There you go. There's your. You don't even have to take the thing apart that much, right? You could take off that stop button, pull the whole thing out if you want, but it worked really well. Put the fuel on. This is where I had fuel just bleeding out of that thing, just pouring out as fast as it was coming in. Now this engine would not run. It like maybe just coughed a little bit. It was so flooded. Pull the spark plug and psych it a little bit. And there you go. Things running like a champ. Better than it ever has been before. It's not a repair that you'd be able to do out on the water very easily, but it's certainly an inexpensive way to do it as opposed to buying a new carburetor or ordering a rebuild kit.